Welcome back to The Heat and our special coverage of the presidential election in the United States. Voters across the U.S. are still casting their ballots at this hour. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are expected to learn in the coming hours which one of them will be the next president of the United States. Whoever wins will inherit some major issues involving the Middle East, such as the ongoing war in Syria and the continuing fight against ISIL. And of course, there are other concerns too, like the future of the Iran nuclear deal. For in-depth perspectives on all of this, we're joined now from New York by Raghida Dergham. She is a columnist and senior diplomatic correspondent for Hayat newspaper. And joining us from London is Abdel Bari Atwan. He is a longtime journalist and writer on Middle East issues. He is the editor-in-chief of al-Youm newspaper. Welcome to both of you to the show. Raghida, let's start with some of the very harsh criticism that Donald Trump has been leveling at Hillary Clinton for her role in the Middle East over the last few years. Let's watch.
When you look at her real record, take a look at Syria, take a look at the migration, take a look at Libya, take a look at Iraq. She gave us ISIS because her and Obama created this huge vacuum. And a small group came out of that huge vacuum because we should have never been in Iraq, but once we were there, we should have never got out the way they wanted to get out. She gave us ISIS as sure as you are sitting there. And what happened is now ISIS is in 32 countries. And now I listen how she's going to get rid of ISIS. She's going to get rid of nobody.
So, Raghida, let's look at Syria and Iraq. If Hillary Clinton becomes president, what can we expect from her in the fight against ISIL and in the broader U.S. role in the Middle East?
Well, Donald Trump, in a way, he has a point because Hillary Clinton was with the Obama administration quite active from the beginning. And she was one of the excited people about having the rule of the Muslim Brothers in Egypt going too fast and dropping too fast in Libya. Of course, she could have done more on Syria. But I think if she becomes president, I think she will do a reset in the relationship with Egypt, and then there will be a big change in the relationship of the United States with the Syrian conflict. There will be no boots on the ground, I am pretty certain of that, but I think she will opt for other options, maybe including military options, in order to tell Mr. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, that no, it is no longer going to be business as usual, that the United States would like to take back its upper hand, whereas I think Mr. Trump would go ahead and go on with the policy of Barack Obama, which is to assign the issue or the dossier of Syria to Vladimir Putin. So if he makes it, it's great, and if he doesn't, it is his quagmire.
Abdel Bari Atwan, one of the military options that Hillary Clinton says she will consider seriously in the war in Syria is to impose a no-fly zone. Let's watch.
I'm going to continue to push for a no-fly zone and safe havens within Syria, not only to help protect the Syrians and prevent the constant outflow of refugees, but to frankly gain some leverage on both the Syrian government and the Russians so that perhaps we can have the kind of serious negotiation necessary to bring the conflict to an end and go forward on a political track.
So, Abdel Bari Atwan, if she implements a no-fly zone, what are the risks?
Well, the risk is huge because no-fly zone will remind everybody in the Middle East that of the similar things which took place before the invasion of Iraq. The American and the British imposed no-fly zone in the north of Iraq and south of Iraq, and after that, actually, they moved in, they sent troops on the grounds, and they removed Saddam Hussein from power. So then we know the end of the story, and Hillary Clinton actually was one of the strong supporter of Iraq invasion, and she did not deny that at all. So many people will interpret this kind of intention from Hillary Clinton as a preparation for a change or regime change in Syria, the same they did in Iraq. So this could alert the Russian in particular. They wouldn't be actually happy with this. They wouldn't accept no-fly zone. And we have to remember that the Russians are on the grounds. They have military bases, they have air bases in Syria, so and they have also missiles. So I think it will be extremely difficult. Okay, during the Iraq invasion, actually, there was Soviet Union, or actually Russia, was very weak, and it was a transitional period. But now we are dealing with a very strong Russian leader, Vladimir Putin, and he is actually trying to, reset the whole Middle East according to the new Russian policy, the new emergence of Russian as a superpower.
Raghida, Trump has been very critical of what he calls radical Islam. He's even called for a ban on Muslims entering the United States. What kind of policies can we see from him towards the Middle East, and how is he viewed from there?
If we consider President Obama an isolationist, Donald Trump will be an exclusionist president. His basic premise is exclusion, and it's really his basic premise is dismantling. So what he wants to do is dismantle, for example, and that's really what suits Russia. It would lead to the dismantling of the United States altogether. He wants to dismantle that relationship with traditional one, with allies and foes alike. So then he has his own views on immigration. He wants to kick out 10 million illegal immigrants. I don't know how he's going to do that practically. There is an inherent discrimination against Muslims, and of course, that resonates big with the Islamic world, not only with the Arab world. I think he has an inherent sort of racism against anything brown, if you will, or of color. So then we are going to see a lot of instability if Donald Trump is president, and I don't think he will do any favor for the Syrians as far as the relationship with Vladimir Putin, at least if Hillary Clinton goes as far as implementing what she is saying she will implement, at least she would not be leaving the Syrians to the wills and executions of both the Russians and the Iranians and their militias in Syria. There is a civil war there, and Russia is part of that civil war. If Hillary Clinton says, I will go ahead and reverse the situation, it doesn't, well, even if it leads to a regime change, they never really hit that. That will be in line with the American policy to start with before Obama started to walk back from that. However, I don't think that she is going to engage with the Russians militarily as such. Don't forget, we have the Turks who are doing exactly what she's talking about, which is working towards the safe havens in Syria and the no-fly zones.
Abdel Bari Atwan, what can we expect on the Iran nuclear deal? Trump has been bashing this deal, calling it one of the worst deals the United States has ever been involved in. Is there a danger that if he comes to power, if he becomes president, he could tear up this deal? And what would the consequences of that be?
Well, actually, the consequences will be huge. It will be extremely dangerous, because if he does abrogate the deal, say, no, it's non-existent, I'm not going to commit myself to it, what's the alternative for that? I think it will be more instability in the Middle East. I believe the Iranian wouldn't be that happy, and they will spoil the water for the American on the Middle East. I mean, because if we remember that the tension which took place before the signing of this deal, it is huge. More than 2 or 3 aircraft carriers, a lot of more than 20 warships were in the Gulf. So and a lot of military maneuvers, a lot of threats of war. So yeah, this could ignite a war in the Middle East. Actually, this could actually ignite a lot of trouble for the oil export. We know that Iran is controlling the Strait of Hormuz, where 18 million barrels of oil pass through every day. And now they are actually in control of Bab al-Mandeb, which is another strait on the mouth of the Red Sea. So this is one thing. Second thing, also, the Iranian actually could endanger the allies of the America in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia, probably Egypt, we don't know yet, the Gulf region in particular. So they will, also Iran will be actually, it will go ahead with its nuclear program. So it could be a nuclear power in 2 or 3 years in this case. Can, Trump afford Iran as a nuclear power on the Middle East itself? So Israel also could be threatened in this case, because the Iranian knew that Israel is the closest ally of the United States. So I believe this will ignite a war in the Middle East.
Raghida, one other big issue.
May I say something on that?
Go ahead.
Quickly, I'll say it. I don't think either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump will drop the deal with Iran, the nuclear deal. But there will be different measures on this. Hillary Clinton will, again, to use the word reset, she will reset relationships, the traditional American relationships with the countries of the GCC, the Gulf Council Cooperation, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, these 6 countries who have had traditional alliance with the United States. I think she would try to resurrect that, whereas Donald Trump will not. However, by her doing that, there will be more of a balance in the Arab-Iranian relationship.
Right.
And I think we should watch how much either one of them says about what Iran is doing in Syria. That is another battleground, and also in Yemen, because there has been attacks, or there have been warnings that what the Iranians are doing around the American ships is not really that welcome.
Okay, Raghida, I've got to ask you this before we go. We're running out of time. Got to touch on this issue. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict. What happens next? Both of you have 30 seconds each. Go ahead, Raghida.
Yeah, I think Hillary Clinton will take up this issue, but not right away. She will not repeat the mistake of Obama to start out with that. However, her own history, the peace process, the two-state solution, her husband's role, I think she'll bring it in. I don't think Donald Trump will rush to take up this issue at all. Okay,
Abdel Bari Atwan, Donald Trump says he's going to be neutral in this conflict. That's a break with traditional U.S. policy. What do you think happens?
Well, I think, I don't believe he will be neutral. It is true he is not actually the favorite to the Israeli lobby in the United States, but he said he will move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. But at least he is not actually taking the same line or strong support to Israel as Hillary Clinton. So we don't know what he is going or what he is planning to do in that part of the world. But right. We know Hillary Clinton will follow President Obama's steps in that part of the world.
Abdel Bari Atwan, Raghida Dergham, thanks to both of you for joining us. We have much more to come on our U.S. election night special edition of The Heat.